Good afternoon. It's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I am back. I'm a little messy, a little disheveled. That's okay. I had a kids' party I had to go to this morning. And I was like literally worn out when I got back. And I just rested. So I hope everybody is well. What else is going on? Not a whole lot. Just good Lord. I really didn't do anything to get ready today. I thought I looked better upstairs, all these hairs. Okay. So I've got a few people already signed up for questions. I'm just going to write the list. Let me just, somebody new here today. I don't know if this is your screen name or not, so I want to wait till you jump on. Hi, Ashley. I'm good. How are you? So, I mean, other than my kids just keep getting sick over and over and over, they're like germ factories. I'm hoping eventually they'll get healthy so everybody can be in school. I love them. I really do. But I become a prisoner of the house when they're all home. How is everybody doing? You are here early today, Regine. Wait, listen to who? Listen to me? About what? Or listen to Regine? Oh my God, y'all. I look like, honestly, I do look like I just woke up. Sorry. It's curly hair. It just doesn't care. Doesn't care. It just doesn't care. And I don't beat it down enough. You got your visa. Yay! Is that the time frame I said it was, or just said you would get it? I'm so excited. Congratulations. That has to be such a relief for you. I've got, thank you for referring your friend to Kenya, by the way. Oh, about staying in Paris and being open to meeting new people. What? You did do that? That wasn't me, by the way. That was a channeled feeling. Who else is here? Say hello. Say hello. Give me a like. I got an email after last week's, and this guy was like, I've been looking at other things, and your show is great. It could be so much better, which was nice of him. He's trying to drum up business. And of course, what is he going to be like? It's dog shit. And he's like, your SEO could be better. I'm like, no shit. Hi. Hi, Tracy. Absolutely. Not too late at all. You did meet someone? That's incredible. I have to tell that story on my Tiki-Talkie, if that's okay with you. That's incredible. I think people should just come here to find out what's going on with your lives and if it really unfolds or not. Because that's exciting. So Nick Kenya, you're up first. You purchased a reading first. Are you? He lives in the South, and you're taking trains to see him. Well, I'm excited for you. Okay, Nick Kenya, I feel like I feel like this is almost not like this is like me just I get to ramble off all of the so Nick Kenya's listening, you said she's here, but she's saying she can't type. No problem. Can you type for her? No, I have a piece of orange like stuck in my tooth here. If you see me playing with it, that's what I'm, like sometimes a little string on the orange. You know those sumo oranges? They are like my vice. I get so excited when it's sumo season. Okay, so so she can hear. So can you, Nick, can you get out notes? Because I'm going to give you a whole bunch of information. This is not, this isn't psychic, but maybe you found me because I love science and I love like figuring out stuff. And so I'm going to share a whole bunch of stuff that you should be doing. I do feel like you'll get pregnant, by the way, on your own. But here's what I feel like you should be doing. And you always run this by your doctor. Okay, you need to make sure you have enough iodine in your diet. So you're getting iodine in your diet. If you're not getting enough iodine, you need an iodine supplement. That's number one. Number two, you need to make sure you're getting vitamin D. Take your vitamin D in the morning with a fatty thing. So almond butter or whatever, if you eat that in the morning, but something that is like fatty because it's fat soluble. But you want to take in the morning because if you think like vitamin D, sunshine. I don't know that there's a rule to that, but intuitively I started taking mine that way and it seems to make a difference. I don't know. I don't doubt there's any study on it. It's just my own. And your doctor will go, it doesn't matter, but whatever. It works for me. I'm just sharing the news. Oh, she's in the US. Okay. I don't know why she can't type. So this is going to be a little bit. So can you tell me if she's actually hearing all of this baloney? Anyway, so it's not baloney, but sorry. So the other thing I want you to do is make sure that your vitamin B that's in your stuff, like if you take a B complex, when you're taking folate, because you need extra folate when you're pregnant and trying to conceive, and in your multivitamin, that all of them are methylated forms, methylated, methylated. So the folate will be L-methyl folate something, something, something. There's usually like a number 5 in there somewhere. Make sure it's methylated. There's something called an MTHFR gene mutation, and up to 60% of people have this gene mutation, some to some degree, some more severe than others, and it causes you to not be able to absorb the synthetic form of your vitamin Bs, and folate is B9, I believe. And take a B complex and make sure that everything's methylated in there. So there's lots of brands that have it. I take Pure Encapsulations. I take a different brand I take a higher dose of folate. I give my kids a higher dose of folate. Crosses the blood-brain barrier. There's studies on it. You ask your doctor. Don't double check with your doctor. But I feel like doing this will help you. Also, make sure you're getting fiber in your diet. So start your day out stop worrying about carbohydrates. Start your day out making sure you get lots of fiber in your diet. The carbohydrates will balance out because you're eating the fiber. You won't just like gorge and gorge and gorge. Okay, that's like my nutrition. These are the things I would do intuitively with my nutrition. Had I known about all this, like I would have done it beforehand. The reason why I figured out about this gene mutation for myself, which they're like, oh, you need a test, whatever. But like one of my children has weakened enamel. I was looking at stuff for myself and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I had that. And then one day I randomly looked up why, cause of weakened enamel. And it was like a folate thing. I'm like, well, the only way in these teeth she was in utero when they were developed. The only way that those would, because they're developed in their gum line and they come down as they get older. The only way that would have happened is if I somehow was not able to give her folate, and I was taking high doses of folate. So kind of like the double whammy. It's also about gut health, and folate helps with your gut health. It's not just a neural tube preventer, to help prevent neural tube defects, which is like your nervous system, your brain, your spine. It's also like important for your gut and your gut health. Fiber is important for your gut health. So and make sure you're also taking pre and probiotics. So it's like you have to, the thing is with all of this, everything kind of has to be in balance. you can't just like do one thing. You sort of have to do it all. So most vitamins have the iodine that you need in them, especially if you're taking a prenatal vitamin, but make sure that prenatal vitamin is methylated folate, methylated B, cobalamin or whatever. Methylated, there's another one that's methylated. Okay, that's that. Yes, I feel like you'll get pregnant, and I feel like it's, I would say within the next couple of cycles. The other part of that is like, try to relax about it. I know that's easier said than done, but try to have fun, not make it a job, and just be like, I'll get pregnant. It's going to happen. I'm not worried about it. I actually feel like it's going to happen a lot sooner than you think, because I keep getting like maybe in the next 2 cycles, maybe 3. But I feel like switching these vitamins over is really important too, especially for your morning sickness. It'll help decrease your morning sickness. Okay. What was the other thing? Does she get car sick? Ashley, can you ask her if she gets like motion sickness really bad? I don't know how many she'll have. I just feel like that this go around is just one. I know it's like a cop out. Like, I don't know. I'm not really being shown. They're sort of just focusing on this one. She gets car sick, motion sick. Okay. I think that might just be a validation for all of this stuff. I think it's also a validation that this also might help decrease some of that motion sickness she's getting, even though that comes from an ear visual type thing. It feels like somehow that helps. And that I don't understand the connection to. I found this really amazing woman on TikTok. I found a couple really just like brilliant people who are like finding amazing studies and connections with like autism and methylation, like just all these different things. So I'm learning so much from that crazy app. That's not just dances, by the way. You can find some really fascinating stuff on there. Okay, Mallory, what's your question, dear? Hello, by the way. It's nice to see you. I see Allie. Hang on. Oh, Tracy, I got your payment. Regine, I got your payment. So, as always, all readings and divinations are for the purposes of entertainment only. I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, or a financial advisor. If you need those, please seek those. You're welcome. What do you see for me coming up this week? I always giggle. I should know that you're asking for this week. Let me just update. Yes, Meg, I got you. Did I not? Are you not on the list? You're on the list. It's fine. I'm just giggling because it's like, how are we doing this week? Am I going to make it through? Hold on. Let me just update this list because we have a couple of people purchased. That way they don't wonder, did I see it? We are all on the same page there. Okay. All right. Ready? There's Mallory. Click. It's not, I feel like, so they're wanting to talk about February. I'm sorry. They're not wanting, they're skipping into February. And I just feel like, Sorry, I didn't mean to just like pause there. You probably thought everything broke up. I just keep seeing like, have you ever, first of all, I keep hearing a fish song, Phish, fish, spinning in circles. Um, I, and I keep seeing what looks like there's like a heart in the center, and it's literally like someone like spinning in circles, but spinning so fast where you just see like no colors, just like, or no real figures, just like whirls of streams of colors, almost like a light show, but it's not. It's like, I don't know how to explain this. um it's like spinning. Let me think. What I'm not gonna sing for you because that's just cruel to do, but I'm going to look up the words because often I get the words wrong of fish songs. I like my lyrics better, but they are not usually right. Um, so my youngest daughter had a birthday party to go to this earlier this morning, and because my kids have been sick. Like my youngest came home early from school on Friday, not too early, but she was just worn out. She's had this cough that's lasted for a while, but her lungs are clear. She's not wheezing or anything. And it's all kind of upper airway. I think it's like a postnasal drippy thing. And I think you should look up the lyrics to this because it's a long song. Um, um, oh, that's not even what the fuck? That's not even the song. How interesting. This is weird. There's two songs because something popped up, which is not what I was looking up. Um, look up the song 20 Years Later by Fish, Phish, and look at those lyrics because there's something in there for you I think is important. Um, and I must have done something wrong. So I'm sorry. I might just email you spinning in circles, walking. I don't know. I have to ask my husband because he's like the fish person. Um, oh, maybe it's called Valentine. And we spin in circles, walk in a straight line, silence dark and long, the thunderclap splits in night, and I'm standing in this field, storms roll around me off of the sky. Hang on. No idea what this song means, but I think maybe it was to get me to that other one. Anyway, it says release, release, release. The ropes are around your neck. I right being is in there. I don't know why that says that. Okay. So I don't know what that means, but look those up. Okay, so let's see. To me, when I saw the circles in the light, it just feels like everything's moving really, really fast and kind of whirling around me. So it might be hard to catch balance in the first 2 to 3 weeks of February, like to catch your balance and to feel grounded. And I think by the second half to the last week of February, you're going to feel more like you're standing. You're not in the mix anymore. You're not in the busyness of it, but it's still, everything is really busy. This feels a lot related to work. Did something happen with Tony's daughter just recently? Because I just heard she's going to be okay, and I feel like it's in reference to her. Okay. That might be what it is. Like, things are going to be okay. It doesn't have to necessarily be negative. It just feels like things are going to be okay. So, whatever bump or the struggles that you were having, the thing that, like, it's all cleared now. I feel like she might be kind of been butting her heads with her mom a bit. And some of that I feel like is like an attachment type issue, like a trauma based struggle she's having, and then age related. So some of it's age and some of it's some trauma stuff that she's dealing with. I started to ask about love for you, but they're like, she's not putting herself out there. Yeah. Is she in therapy? Because I feel like she'd really benefit from it, or some kind of group thing. Because I feel like she is sort of, and I don't know that she realizes where some of her struggles are coming from, but I feel like it is a lot from the loss. You're definitely not putting yourself out there. Okay. Because I was like, if she's wondering about love, like she's not even putting herself out there. I cannot. Okay. It would just really help her. So if somehow that can be encouraged, because I feel like there's a lot of subconscious stuff that's just getting shoved down that she's not really focusing on or dealing with. Like she doesn't even understand that that's where her insecurities are coming from, and which is like logical and normal. And hi, spiritual seeker. You're very welcome. Thank you for trusting me. Yeah. Okay. Devry, what's your question? Why do the connections I try to make relationship wise fail? I mean, I try to put myself out there, being charming, friendly, and open, and turn out to be complete douchebags. Wow. I dated so many of those, so I feel ya. You are not cursed. You're not being punished. You're not a bad person. Hi, Allie. Thank you, Spiritual Seeker. So you aren't cursed. I think, can I share a personal, like, what I realized, like, looking back on my own path? Like, so I did not have great self-esteem. I'm still kind of awkward, but that's my own awkwardness. It's not like, like a self-esteem issue, but I had issues with not thinking I was lovable or valuable or worthy or all of those things. And looking back, the reason why I dated the guys that I did was that I don't know if it's like the energy I gave off or what, but I just accepted a lot less. And so it turns out they were douchebags, but I was like, what's wrong with me? The only thing was wrong with me is that I was accepting so much less and trying to, hang on, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Trying to seek validation through them, gain acceptance of myself through them. And I dated a lot of douchebags. Like, one guy had so many tax problems. I have an uncle who's a tax attorney who, at one point in his career, he's older now, he's still working, but he worked for the IRS. He was actually Willie Nelson's attorney. It like got him out of all those tax troubles or whatever. But he had so many tax problems, so I was like, well, I'll call my uncle and ask, whatever. So I, connected him with my uncle. My uncle connected him with an attorney up here. Like, I never heard from him again. Never a thank you, like nothing. Maybe my uncle knew what a piece of crap he was and was like, get lost. But I mean, to not even say thank you, like, that's pretty shitty. I don't know. I think a lot of it came from honestly not truly understanding. Like, I was like, well, of course I like myself, but I don't know. I don't know that I really realized my value and my worth. And a lot of and I say this over and over and over and over again, not because there's some magic thing, but it's like I can look back at my life and see that because I didn't have value and self-worth, all of the things I tolerated from people, not like, oh, I'm the victim, but just like, why was I trying so hard for certain people to like me that really didn't deserve my friendship, didn't deserve my intrigue and interest in them. I mean, there's someone I've been friends with for a long time, and she's not horrible. I mean, I've known her since I was like very young, elementary school. But I was very accepting of a lot of really not great behavior. And she admitted it, like, as we were older and stuff. She was like, I was really, I'm sorry. But and that all kind of boiled down to my not feeling like I was worthy or deserving of love. And I was ready to accept any piece of garbage that came my way. But you're not cursed. It really does boil down to the learning. And by learning, I mean reprogramming your brain. And so when you're starting to see the garbage show up quicker and sooner, it's not because, oh, that's all there is. It's like, oh, well, that's like what I was like. All that old stuff is still coming in. And also, in all fairness, not that I hate men or anything, but I just start, now that I look at it from a different perspective and like being a little bit older and like starting to look at patterns of societal beliefs, because I started looking at, if our beliefs create a reality, where do all of my beliefs come from? So I started looking at my life and realizing like, okay, well, so there's from within my family system, right? How my parents treated me, but then just beliefs within like my mom's family system, beliefs within my father's family system, beliefs within my school system, beliefs within the state I grew up in, the religious beliefs that we get, like even the like subtle undertone stuff, like when we look at like same thing with like racism or whatever, right? So my dad liked to watch that show Cops when I was a kid, and like the perp walk, it is literally like it's all black men and or black and brown men and like one white dude at the end. It was never like when really you look at crime rates, it's, I don't know. So like what you get this underlying factor, like, oh, be scared of people that are not like you or not white, whatever, right? You don't get told that, but like you're like, oh, those are bad guys. That's what bad guys look like. But we all know that that's not the truth, right? So I started looking at all of these belief systems of where stuff came from. What do you do? Right. So what helped me was really just going in and liking myself, like looking at myself and realizing how valuable I am and how perfect we all are just as we are. And reprogramming my belief systems and my thoughts and really paying attention to the thoughts that in the way I speak to myself. And recognizing that when someone doesn't show up and they're like, oh, I don't like you, you're this or you're that, or you're like, they show up in one way, it's like, well, that's just like your opinion. It doesn't make it reality. Like I did a show here once and they were like, you have a huge forehead. Well, I have a forehead really now, but all for the bigger brain than I have. Like people are going to choose not to like you or choose not to accept you based on their own belief systems and based on the way they view themselves. It really has, I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like really going in and continuing to speak to yourself. So instead of saying like, what's wrong with me that these people don't like me? It's like, oh, that's interesting that that's the energy that I'm giving off. Don't try to be something that, I'm not saying that you're not charming, but just be authentically you. Because showing up and trying to play a part in order to get the person you think is not going to get you what you want. I wouldn't say I'm particularly charming of a person, to be honest with you. I'm a bit awkward. I really do have to think about not etiquette, but like the nicety things, the little nicety, those little, like whenever I see people and they're great hostesses, I'm always like blown away because I'm like, I wouldn't think of half of this stuff. And it's like the little things, right? That like make somebody feel welcome. And I'm always usually like rushing around like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's my own perception, whatever. Maybe I'm not that terrible at it, but so it's not, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not understanding because I'm being me. I just add more or less because I was told I was always something wrong. That's what I'm telling you. Don't add more or less. Just be you. You're not doing anything wrong. That belief system is what's triggering some other stuff that's coming up. And whether we say it or not, energetically, we give stuff off. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong, I do this too. Please understand, I had an event last night at this person's house. It went nice enough. I stayed a little bit over to make sure that I got through everybody. I did not ask for extra pay. She didn't pay extra, but she was very nice. She was very welcoming. She had a space. She was very conscientious of my requests and very thoughtful. These women were all very nice and none of them were like schnockered or anything like that. So that was nice too, because sometimes it's hard to read through people when they're really boozed up. But I walked out going, because she was a little like not abrupt when I left her, but I walked out thinking, oh my God, did I do something wrong? Because I've spent a lifetime feeling like I was always doing things wrong. So I understand when you say that. you're not doing anything wrong. The only thing wrong you're doing is just trying to be something other than what you really are. So don't be more or less, just be you. And you don't go in and be like, I like me, I'm valuable, I'm worthy. Of course, they're going to like me too. And if they don't, again, they don't get to set your value and your worth. Like, who is that person anyway? When we worry about the people from the past, like, how are they going to judge me for what I'm doing now? Like, why? They're not adding to this dude that you're going on 1 date with, 2 dates, 3 dates, whatever. They're not adding to your value and your worth. They're not bringing a whole lot to the table. I wish I had realized I should just be like, all right, what's he got to offer? So I want you to think about that. That's not you. That's somebody who, like, what a gift that he couldn't keep that mask up long enough. So they say that, when you're someone who is open to honesty and like you're very understanding of people and their faults, those are the people, and you're really like interested in like learning about other people and kind of you're fine with trying new things or whatever, and tolerate a lot. It's not necessarily a people pleaser or somebody who's it's kind of people pleasery, but it's more just like easygoing about stuff because you figure, well, that would be reciprocated, right? Those are when you attract people who are with more narcissistic traits. I won't say full narcissism, but like who, that guy was so sweet and so perfect and so wonderful and wasn't the next day. That's a huge red flag to me. And that's not about you. Like, your personality should stay pretty consistent. And even someone who's truly genuinely nice, if they're not interested in you and they're emotionally mature, they can say, like, I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I think you're a great person. I think we'd be great friends, but I don't see this romantically going anywhere. And that's not that hard to say to somebody. Sure, you don't want to hurt anybody, but if he's rude, that's not you, that's him. And thank your lucky stars that showed up immediately and not a year into the relationship. So for me, it's like the reason why I'm rambling like this is because it's generally they're like, this is not her. Like, you're not doing anything wrong other than you're still growing and you're still healing and reprogramming. And sometimes it takes a little bit for us to see the like, oh, it's like the work I'm doing is working. And I see it in like, so, and also be thankful you're not doing this when you have kids, because it's really hard to do this work to like reprogram everything and try and be a sane, rational person for your children. I'm like a good example for them. I've said this, that you see stuff, sometimes it's a little bit down the road before it happens and you're like, it's working. Where it's like the certain things won't trigger you as big. So maybe this would have sent you into a tailspin for weeks being like, what's wrong with me? I'm the worst person ever. And now you're like, well, this sucks. Like, what the heck is going on? But you're not in that massive funk. Measure that as a good thing. Take that as a win, because it does mean that the work you're doing is working. And also, I've said this before, dating is going to be hard for like the next 18 months. And it's because I think there's a shift energetically in how men are, and they're going to start learning a little bit more about themselves and being a little bit more introspective because women are changing. Does that make sense? Did any of that rambling help you? Yes. Okay. So would you say that, because I feel like energetically even you're not as low as you have been in the past when something like this is like your energy is not as, not that you would have been devastated, but I just feel like you're not as bothered by it. It's still annoying. I'm not saying it's not, and I'm not dismissing that feeling of that. Like I get that. And I'm sure other people in this room totally get it too. Joelle gets it. Hi, Joelle. It's hard to break your pattern. It's so hard to break your patterns, Allie. I noticed I'm a people pleaser and I have to remind myself that everything is okay. It's hard. We deserve to have peace with ourselves. We do. Absolutely. Every single one of us deserves that. Every single one of us deserves, honestly, just like to be kind to yourself. Um, I did this vision board thing with Colette Baron Reed. She did like a free 7-day thing. And of course, like, she's leading into like selling some of her other stuff and joining some of her other group stuff. Hi, Joelle. Um, but the vision board thing was amazing. And she gave so much information and spent so much time where I was really impressed because it was free. And I saw like, and she wasn't overselling or anything. She wasn't like annoying about it. She was really, it was like the perfect amount of like mentioning it. She mentioned it maybe like just at the very end where she really talked about it a lot. So after 7 days of doing stuff, but it was cool because she had such a great look at like looking at what you want to manifest it. Why do you want to manifest it? What do you think it's really going to make you feel like? How is it going to change you? Whatever. And so sometimes you may look at it and be like, well, is that going to really give me that feeling or that thing, that fulfillment that I want? And she's like, a lot of it's looking at, and she said it's a lot around self-concept. And I was like, yeah, see. um, and it was interesting because I did look at some of the things I want and be like, yeah, why don't I deserve that? Why is that? Why do I feel that that's selfish for me to have that? Or um, why would I feel like I'm wrong or behaving badly? Just makes me go back to what the elders always tell me, that it's in God's time, not mine. And that's like, that was actually one thing she said a lot. And so what's funny to me, it took me a long time to get to the point of being like, okay with not needing to rush things. And still there's some things where I'm like, well, when's it going to happen? But I also recognize that, like there's certain things I want to happen, but I'm like, I would be overwhelmed if overnight I had the scheduling client activity and stuff that I really, really would like, where I'm working and doing this, you know, what for this would be considered full time, because I could not do readings 40 hours a week. I would be exhausted. But and it would be way too much. But doing this and having other stuff and like finally I really want to get the Etsy thing going. I really want to get my page going where I'm doing more circles and things like that. But I also know that I'm overwhelmed. I mean, my kids are a lot right now because they're all getting sick so much. So it's like, it is really about divine timing. And I know that it'll come in when it's the perfect timing and I'm ready for it and I'm ready to absorb it all. Hi, Nicola. And the cool thing is I didn't bring my iPad down here today, but I did my vision board on Canva. So I was like downloading pictures and, so I could put like pictures. I have a couple pictures of my kids on there and like different things. And it's like, I don't know. It's really interesting. I've only done a vision board one other time and some of the stuff happened and some of it didn't, but it's also stuff that could still happen. And also someone is like, I don't really care if I have that anymore. I really do, Deborah. I really do think it'll happen for you eventually. I literally just heard, just believe in yourself. And also the other thing is like, if you don't have all the stuff and you shored up in the sense of security within yourself, and this is easy for me to look at, but a relationship will not make you whole or complete. It will just complicate it because all of your insecurities will have a huge spotlight shown on them in that relationship. And that other person isn't necessarily, if you're not in the right space and you don't think you're deserving or worthy, or you always think you're wrong, and so that other person outside of you must be right, you end up losing yourself in it. It feels like someone's talking through you when you say that, because you tell me that all the time. What do you mean? I don't know why I tell you it all the time. The more I acknowledge myself, what I really need, the less I put others on a pedestal and see people for who they are. That's, yeah. And the thing is we are all flawed. We are all flawed. There isn't somebody that's just so amazing. I mean, there are some people like that, but I'm just saying that they're still flawed. Because that's the thing you say to me every time we have this talk. I'm sorry. You know what? I can't give you anything other than what they're giving me. And it's like, it's not. And the thing is, as I said to you, and I want you to hear that, your energy is very different than it was in the past. I know that it's shifted, and I know you've made growth and work. And I think the hard thing is when we aren't in this big, wow, everything's so amazing, and like, I did the work, I got the thing. It's sometimes hard for us to see that we are growing, and that we are healing, and that we have made huge strides. We forget to acknowledge that. So I always try to remind people, like, even for me, and this is what I learned through my own path of healing and going through therapy and everything else. And the therapist didn't tell me, it was just like sort of this like, oh, wow, like this would have really triggered me in the past. This would have really, really set me into a spinning mess. And I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm annoyed, but I'm okay. Or whatever. That's their problem. That's growth. And it doesn't mean you'll never have triggers, and it doesn't mean you'll never be insecure again. I find myself insecure randomly, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Let me tell myself I love myself. Or like, why is this triggering me? What refinement do I have to do? What belief system is still in there? That's what shadow work is. It's like willingness to look at all of that stuff and go, not beat yourself up for it, and not tell yourself what a piece of garbage you are, because like, oh, what's wrong with me that I can't just be amazing all the time? And like, because you're not going to be able to, and that's okay. No one is. When you look at, what's his name? I'm trying to remember his name. He's Joel, I got your payment. I want to see if I can find this guy's name, because it's important to this. I just need to see. Sorry, this is noisy. Rashida Jones. Oh, Quincy Jones. So Quincy Jones, there's a documentary that his daughter made about him. Rashida Jones made about him, and I think it's on Netflix. I can't remember. And he's like crazy successful businessman, like grew up, did all these really, really great things. And at the very end, they're like, what can you not do? And he's like, marriage. Like, he could not keep a romantic relationship. Like, it was just hard for him. And that's a lot of like, okay, so maybe he could see his value and worth in work, but allowing somebody in and being fully vulnerable was hard for him, or is hard for him. Sometimes we fall through old patterns. I remember I used to get obsessed with certain things. Now I'm amused by them. Some of them seem like old records that I'm like, ugh, yeah. I mean, I just think, oh, how much time I spent crying over stupid men that they were boys, really, because they were not grown up. Um, that were awful, like absolutely atrocious to me. And not like, oh, poor victim me, but I think, oh my God, like this shit I tolerated. And the whole time I was like, what's wrong with me? There was like literally nothing other than me being insecure and couldn't see myself, right? There wasn't anything that, and having my own triggers and stuff, but I wasn't a terrible catch. I had a full-time job. I was independent. I took care of myself. I had an education. Like I wasn't crazy psycho. I wasn't, trying to stalk anybody. I was, but I was accepting less than, and I thought that I couldn't get any better. And it is about patterns. And the thing is like, that's about the subconscious where we talk about reprogramming and like, think about how many times when you're driving, like I always every morning I take my kids to school, I usually turn left. And like, if I have to turn right, I always have to be like, ooh, there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I got to turn around and go the other way because I'm going the wrong way. Because subconsciously I was just sort of on autopilot. It is like breaking in new shoes. And the other thing is, it's not something like, oh, I've got it, so I'm perfect at it. Like you have to keep reminding yourself here and there. That's why like I do walk into moments where I'm like, ugh, and I don't feel great about myself. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what is that about? What do I need to work on? Sometimes it's PMS, but sometimes I think this is mostly ladies here. So if there's any gentlemen, I'm sorry if I offended you. So, sometimes it's hormonal shifts, but sometimes it's just, that's what happens. And then I just like pick myself up. I'm like, no, I'm not this person. I'm worthy. I'm deserving. I'm enough. I'm valuable. I'm good at what I do. What I said last week is regards to my hip pain. Bursitis is what you said. Yes. I already got icy hot, but I'm going to get some Voltaren for it. Does it seem to help it at all? And also what might help you with that is sleeping with either a wedge or like a pillow or a blanket rolled up between your legs at night to keep your legs slightly abducted. Adducted is together, abducted is apart. Oh, Allie, that's sweet. You're a catch, Devery, who have a good heart and said to say not a lot of people do, so it takes time. Oh, and it's sad to say not a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, if you think about how much work each of us, when we talk about this, how much work we have to do on ourselves to heal ourselves. Now think about that. Like you may be going into a space where someone is on that path of not being healed. She's not too nice. This is why I like this space, because everybody's really nice in here and welcoming and kind and supportive. And I think people can relate to this. So that's why I keep doing this. If you guys sucked, I wouldn't be here. Joelle, I'll add you. That should be a t-shirt. If you sucked, I wouldn't be here. Just kidding. Hi, Rain. That's so sweet. Blessings to you. When I do find a good catch, I'll let you all know about it. Well, I hope so. All right. So, Meg, what's your question? I don't know. Did that answer your question, Devery? Just want to go back up and make sure I did answer it. Yeah, I did. Yes, okay. And it's not so much self-esteem, it's like it's that whole idea of like if we're the main character and the plot for our main character is, oh well, sometimes it works, it doesn't happen for me, but it happens for everybody else, or I must be cursed because if like, oh, the main character feels like she must be cursed. So it's like everybody pops up that way around her. And it does take a while for things to start shifting and coming about. But they do. Do you know what I started doing for like get weight loss and fit and stuff like that? Because I know a lot of my hormones were out of balance, so I'm working on that. But I started like I don't if I stand on my scale, I don't look at my scale. I just close my eyes and imagine that I'm looking at it and the number I want. And then I get off my scale and I literally will not look at my scale because I have other ways of, like I know if I'm making progress or not, but I just feel like find a way to like, I don't know, imagine. Oh, you're fine, Regine. Don't worry. Meg, are you still here? But it's not Meg, it's something else. What do you see for my sister and her husband, please? Can you tell me your sister's first name and her husband's first name? Oh, you put their name on PayPal. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't see that. Oh, there you go. I won't say them out loud. Do you know if she has some throat problems, like a sore throat or some issue there right now, or if she's sick right now? I feel like she has some health issues going on. She has a headache. She has a sore throat. And there's something with my stomach feeling really distended and bloated. I also feel like not like she's not breathing deep enough. So either she just doesn't like ever or she can't. Okay. She's very stressed. So I literally started hearing that Miley Cyrus song. I can buy myself flowers. I can hold my own hand, whatever. Don't make me sing to you. I think if I could really belt it out, maybe I wouldn't like be so crackly and weird. But also that might be my own imagination thinking I'm better at singing than I am when I'm by myself with the right acoustics, like a bathroom. You've been listening to it all day. Okay. um, if okay, that could be that because of that. And but there's also a part of me that feels like there's discord between the two of them. And I also feel like there's a financial burden between the two of them. Like, so if they were having any problems at all, it's going the basis of that problem is going to be a financial issue. Financial it is. Okay. I feel like he's not very good with money. Um I literally heard you don't have to worry about her because your sister will make sure that she is fine. I don't feel like he's, I just feel like he's very immature and very, like, I literally feel like money's slipping through my hands is the feeling I get. And she's exhausted and perplexed. Like when you're just but like, why would you do that? I don't see things going great for them, but it gets better for her. So, as a relationship, I don't see that that's going to stand the test of time, but she will be okay. And the little girl will be okay. So, um, sometimes as things are shaking out for somebody to have their best life, it doesn't look so great. But remember that like a cake doesn't look really good when you just throw all the ingredients in. You got to mix it and bake it. And so it just takes time and they're sort of in the mixing phase and like of getting to that destined life, so to speak. I do feel like they'll end up separately, yeah. And I feel like the little girl will be with I think the unraveling happens this year, but I don't think it's completely done until maybe next year. And there's also something about 2025. So maybe it's like something where it's, like some states have like a time requirement, right? So you file for separation and you have to be legally separated for a certain amount of time. And then the divorce proceedings can happen. All right, Meg, what's your friend's first name? You're very welcome, Regine. Thank you for trusting me. Meg, I think you're behind. I think you need to drag the little thing because I think you're a little bit behind in um, the live. Hang on. Let me send her a text. What am I doing? Sure, you can. Okay. So while I'm waiting for Meg to catch up, Tracy, what's your question? I saw Meg's question, but I also know that she's behind in the live, so I'm going to be yammering, and then she won't be able to kind of like go back and forth. So I'm just waiting for her to catch up. And so I sent her a text message. For a point of reference, and I don't usually ask this, Tracy, can you give me what region of the United States you're in right now? I think you're in the United States. You're in New England, okay. Okay. Meg, are you caught up yet? Because I saw you answered my text. So. Sorry. They're highlighting Rhode Island right now, and I don't know why, but it's like, thank you, Meg. Are you in Rhode Island? Have you been looking at Rhode Island? You're in Vermont planning on staying. So I heard out of state. Let me pull up a map of Vermont. Let me just see if I'm drawing anything there. Oh, weird. Okay, Meg, I'm going to answer your question in 2 seconds. I heard out of state, and then they brought me to Rhode Island. I'm happy to be wrong. I'll look at, oh, she was behind. Okay. Let me look at a map of Vermont. Let's see if anything sticks out to me. I don't think it's going to be massive. All right, let me do this. Let me do it this way. Stop being a jerk face. There we go. I keep getting that. So if they stay in Vermont, where do they go? So I keep getting pulled out of state, and I don't feel like it's Massachusetts. And so then I was like, well, is it New York? And I'm like, no, because I was just looking around it. It seems weird to have a job move to Rhode Island. I don't know why. I'm sure people have lots of job moves there. Um, if you stay, I feel like if you stay in Vermont, you're going to be in like, I think this is Windham County, and it would be like bordering like New Hampshire and Massachusetts. You'd be like right on the very. Your boyfriend just started a new job. Is there any reason what is there any reason that I don't know why I keep pulling? I don't think it's Connecticut. I mean, it could be Connecticut, but I feel like Rhode Island. I don't know why, because he said Rhode Island and I heard it. um, does that county make sense when I say that? What was it again? Not Windsor. Oh, Allie said there's Connecticut. Um, so even when you guys are looking at moving, I feel like okay. But there's still something about Rhode Island that's going to come up. And I feel like you just keep that little bee in your bonnet. But if you, because then I changed the question. I was like, if you stay in Vermont, because I heard, are they moving? And I heard out of state and then saw Rhode Island, like written out. So then I asked it differently because you're like, we're not going. So I'm like, okay, so if you stay, where do you go? And that was the county I saw. I don't know enough about the Northeast and the different towns. I can, if somebody asks me about Wisconsin, I'm like, oh, here. I can kind of, because I live there. Same thing with Texas. I get a little better feel because I live there. And like New Jersey and New York, I just get a little bit better feel when I've been places, and I've never been a lot of places in New England. I've been to Rhode Island, but they have a cute little drive-in there. I like drive-ins. That's the county that I felt like you would be in. What is it? Let me look at it again. It's Windham County. Wait, what is that? I don't know. No, it's blurry. Yeah, Windham, and it feels like, so there's Newfane, but I feel like it's south and slightly east of Newfane. So it's like, but still within the limits of Vermont. Listen, when Meg here asked about moving, I was like, you're going to be west of the town you're in. She was like, I'm not looking to go west. She's west of the town she's in. So that's why I go, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm wrong. I just know what I get and I can't change it. So I can ask the question differently and see that what happens. Okay, so let's look at Meg and her friend. Would it be more beneficial to move to Rhode Island? We're hoping to work in the cannabis industry, and I'm not sure there are laws. What their laws are? Let's look. Because I don't either, but I heard right before the picking. So it is legal to consume recreational there. I don't know if you're growing. So I don't know what part of the business you're getting in, like, the growing part of it or the selling part of it, or the growing and selling part of it. um, it feels like to me, growing and dispensing. I keep feeling yes, and I don't know if it's I know Vermont is known pretty well for like kind of being like, we don't want the government in our business. Like they're a very interesting state from what I remember. Um, Not that that's not it. I mean, whatever. They're not, I don't know. Um, but it feels like there's something, I don't know that it's a tax break, but there's some financial benefit to having the business in Rhode Island versus Vermont. And I don't know what that means. So maybe it's qualifying for a license easier, qualifying for, I don't know. Look into it. Is he learning the back end of the business right now so that he can develop his own? Is that the job he got, like working underneath somebody else, learning how to do all this stuff? Okay, Meg, I want to look at your question typed, and I'm here for you now. Um, so at first I was gonna be like, my natural instinct was like, let it go. But I heard reach out. And but I heard like reach out, but not overzealously and not to push it. And I do feel like she's I'm trying to figure out what this, I keep hearing little lines of music, so um ha- have you been going over scenarios in your head about the conversation that might happen? Yes. That's why I'm getting that sound. Okay. Stop it. So it feels like conversations of like, I'm already ready for the fight. I'm already ready for the anger. I'm ready for the like, the interaction that's going to happen and what I think she's going to say and what I'm going to say. It's stop it. And I say that because every time I go to reach out, something in me stops me. Okay. So then it's not the right time yet. And that's okay. So maybe that's what they're talking about. Don't be overzealous about it. So, So they're saying to reach out, but it doesn't feel like reach out today, reach out tomorrow. It feels like it'll be you reaching out. But I also feel like there's part of her that's she has a very stubborn streak. And I do think there's a slight bit of jealousy. And I don't understand it, but I just feel like she's slightly jealous of you. I mean, you're gorgeous, you're incredible. I admire you deeply. So I'm not trying to say like she's jealous of you. That's not the way I'm saying it at all. But like you might compare it and be like, well, she's independent too. She's doing well too. Like, but whatever reason she is jealous. And I don't know why. And it feels like that's the underlying part of it. I'm not saying you should make it right. It just feels like when it happens, the conversation will be appropriate, but I do feel like you will end up reaching out. Did I just get a validation? Yeah. So, I feel like it would be too much to articulate for her that she's jealous and that's why she's behaving the way she is. I heard something interesting. About jealousy, and now I can't remember what it was. So guess it wasn't that interesting. Sorry. But it made sense when I heard it. No, I can't remember it. So in one ear, out the other. It must have been profound. You'll be okay. Allie, do you want to go? But stop. Okay, stop. Also, but stop. So I say this to my mom about my one sister all the time because my one sister's been calling and leaving crazy messages for her. And but she thinks, and I'm like, you're projecting. Like you're making up that whole scenario in your head. You have no idea. And also you're trying to logic something that's just not logical. She's, this is like not logical behavior. You can't logic it. You just can't. So her behavior isn't coming from a logical place. When will you move out of your parents' house, Allie? Hang on. I just want to see. I think Regine paid for another one. Joelle? Yeah, Regine did pay for another one. Okay. Can't logic it. Not going to logic it. Allie, how does June sound? Because I heard June. You're not ready. Like as much as you're saying like, I want to move out. I feel like financially you're not quite ready yet. Like you probably could and you'd be okay, but I feel like you don't feel like you'll be stable enough. And so you don't. And also, I don't think anybody's pushing you out the door. Like I do feel like you want more space and more privacy, but I don't feel like it's a horrendous situation you're in right now. Like I feel like your family's pretty nice. Listen, I said June. It could be June of next year. Okay. I feel like there might be a roommate situation that opens up for you. where someone needs a roommate and it's just sort of like perfect timing and it's a really good deal. You don't have to. I think you're Hispanic, right? And I'm not trying to say this, but it is culturally like normal for Hispanic people to live with their family like forever. And I'm not knocking you. I mean, I've noticed I have a lot of friends who are Hispanic, and whether it's, um, Dominican or Puerto Rican or Mexican or my friend Christina, she's Peruvian. She still lives with her parents. Um, it feels like it's very like a family. Um, so do this. Stop putting society's idea of like why at 33 do you feel like you have to be out of the house? If you were living in a country that was other than the United States, that was like more, more Hispanic or you know, uh, uh, Latino population, so like any of those countries, Spain, Mexico, Dominican, the DR, the PR, or even Cuba, I'm sure is the same, or Peru, or any of the South American countries. You nobody would bat an eye that, oh, you're living at home, okay, like no problem. So the thing is like people are going to judge you no matter what. No matter what. Like it took me a really long time to figure that out where I was like, well, if I do this, then they'll like me, or then they'll want to be around me, or then they'll be nice, or then they'll be approve of me or appreciate me or whatever. And the fact of the matter is, if you're like, and you're also trying to like, who fucking cares what somebody thinks if you live with your family? Like, who cares what their idea is of that? Because if they're not willing to get to know you and figure it out and be like, oh, cool, whatever, they're not worth your time or effort anyway. And if somebody's spending time judging you for where you're at, it's because they're trying to avoid looking at the old crap they're dealing with. That's what I say. Like, I don't care what somebody else is doing. Why? Because most of the time it's not going to affect me anyway. I don't know. Like, what does your living with your parents have anything to do with me? And it certainly doesn't say anything about it with you. I guess I would assume I'd be like, save money. Like, cool. I'm on YouTube from my basement. What does that say? And your parents don't judge you because that's normal in Hispanic culture. You're worrying about belief systems set in place by a country, no offense, but this country does not care about people. And they're proving it left and right. I saw somebody, actually a group of people with holding signs up at a busy intersection asking for money to pay for somebody's cancer surgery. Please tell me our country cares about people. If you're seeing that, your country does not care about you. This is a capitalistic society. People will have you believe that you need to be in massive amounts of debt in order to be happy, fulfilled, and a whole person. Stay where you're at. You're good. I'm not trying to be like, I just think things need to shift. And that was very profound to me to see that. Like, thought, geez, why do we allow this to be our medical system, that people are like, they cannot pay for their health care. In order to live, in order to just fucking live, to breathe, they have to beg for money on the corner to help them pay for these things. That is bananas. Roommate. I don't feel a boyfriend. I feel like it's female. So, and I'm sorry, I'm with the whole thing that this inflation thing is intentional. I understand that there's like some issues with stuff with China not being able to fulfill things, but some of this stuff is absolutely intentional. Price gouging, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So greed is amazing. All rich people are money hoarders. They've got a hoarding issue too. It's just money, not stuff. Not all rich people, but I'm talking about like the insane billionaires. That's a money hoarding thing and a power greedy hoarding thing. I mean, that is good for you. But even so, our insurance system is messed up. It's not right. None of that stuff should be for profit. I don't know. It should be done differently. Joelle, what's your question? You're welcome, Allie. I'm just going to make a note in my thing because if I erase this board, then I'll forget about the TikTok thing. Too many questions in my head or whatever comes up. Sorry, I know for us asking something specific. Well, instead of, maybe you can't do something specific, pick a topic, work, love, like what you would rather focus on. And Regine, what's your second question? Or you can think about it, what you would like is your, and Regine, what's your other question? Ali, I get you. In Lebanese culture, we live with our parents too, so don't let anyone get to you and judge you until you're ready to move out. And I think in European, just in Europe in general, I think people live with their families longer too. I think it's a very American thing to think you need to move out and be on your own. I feel like we're like the only country that is so individualistic and not about community. Regine and love. Regine. How do you fall in love when you don't put yourself out there? Not in Sweden? Really? Oh. Literally, you're not putting yourself out there. I do feel like I did hear that song. It's coming in hot. So I do feel like there's going to be somebody coming in this year. But I also feel like, God, put yourself out there. I feel like he likes to dance. He's going to be a little bit more gregarious, more outgoing than you are. And I also feel like he's in a group of, so you might go out one night with some friends and he's like a friend of a friend or something like that. But I feel like he's like not so outside of your circle. I don't know his nationality. You know that Indie song, Brown Skin? I literally just heard that brown skin. I like that song, by the way. She's a very, very good lyricist. Um, I don't know his nationality, though. I'm sorry, I can't say that. My sisters used to make fun of me for listening to Andy Irie, but she's such a good lyricist, and it has like such a good beat. I don't care. I'm glad I'm here for your entertainment. It does say for entertainment purposes only. I mean, but I couldn't be any more see-through. I'm pretty much like white, see-through, or lobster color, and I try to avoid lobster now in my 40s. I'm hoping next week. I'm hoping this week I'll get this dyed because it's looking a little gray. I'm feeling like it shouldn't. I don't want it to right now. I go through phases where I'm like, meh, it's fine. And other phases where I'm like, yeah. So I feel like he'll be like a nice brown. Not that all browns aren't nice, but it's just like more like a milk chocolatey brown instead of a dark chocolatey brown. But I like dark chocolate, so I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with any color. All the shades are nice. I don't know. I feel like older than you, but I don't feel like he looks old. But you know what they say, it doesn't crack, Like, so he looks young. Like there's some people where you cannot tell their age. And it's one of those feelings like I feel like you can't tell his age. I feel like there's a little bit of an age gap with the two of you, but it doesn't feel huge. I literally I have to tell you this. It's funny, like now I look back, I'm like, oh, that's so neurodivergent. I didn't realize it. I just really like to do it. So I would take my car out in Wisconsin, and I went to school in Eau Claire, and there's like surrounded by farms. I mean, there's other small towns nearby or whatever, but there's lots of farms to like just farm roads to go drive on. And I would just go for drives on farm roads and like all my sunroof open, windows open, and my music blaring. And I would blare like the Indie Irie album, Brown Skin. I don't know what people thought, but I enjoyed it. That's all that matters. So just feel it. So you know what's funny? As I always knew, like with my kids, I always knew that I would be pregnant within 6 months just because I would already feel like as if I was pregnant. I couldn't explain it, like energetically. So if you're saying like, I can feel it, it's crazy, just trust it and go with it. But it feels like, and it's not necessarily about going and putting on yourself on all these dating apps or whatever. It's just energetically making yourself available. I heard this technique and I've tried it before doing, I'm going to keep implementing it, but before doing the readings over on TikTok or whatever, but like imagining it like a room and pulling all the four corners of the ceiling together so that it like pulls the attention onto you. So before you go out with friends or whatever, and before you go dancing, just imagine the four corners of the room kind of pulling together and just see what happens. Okay. All right. So now I still need to get back to Joelle, and then that's it. You're very welcome, Regine. Joelle, something I'm first getting though, before you even say a topic or whatever, is okay. So, I was going to say business, but do you see me developing current or starting a new one or both? Don't you say sorry. I actually feel like doing both. Are you already running the business with your brother? You're doing the pizza place, right? Because I keep feeling like there's some kind of pastry thing that I don't know. Or do you make pastries? I can just taste a pastry. You bake some or so. Okay, okay. Cafe with your sister. Okay. So it feels like there should be more of that. And I don't know what that means, but more of that. Um, it feels like somehow that gets like, I don't know if you go to like a farmer's market or have some kind of little something, but it feels like something of that expands a little bit more. And I also feel like you're doing something creative on your own. I keep seeing like what they're showing me, and I don't know that this is necessarily what you're doing, but it's like I see these little, I don't know if it's embroidered flowers or little artistically drawn flowers or something where it's created. And I don't know if it's jewelry or something, but it's almost like little, I'm calling them trinkets because I don't know exactly what they are for sale. So maybe you create like a little jewelry line or whatever and you sell it within the cafe. I don't know, but it's like feels like you're doing something else on the side. And I don't know that it brings in so much money, but I feel like you're really proud of it and it brings in a lot of joy. Jewelry. Okay. That's one of the options. Okay. Well, that's what I saw. So I don't know what your other options are, but that's what I saw. I'm drawing on a little dry erase board, if you're wondering, instead of staring at myself. That's weird. That's what I saw. Okay. And I'm sending you an energetic head because you feel a little down today. You just feel a little low energy. You are. Okay. Sending you hugs. Okay. All right. So I will say good night. Adieu. Have a great week. I will see you next Sunday here. Check out my TikTok. Wasn't really active last week because again, I sick kids and all of that. Sorry for popping my knuckles. If that offends you, no offense intended. And I will see you next week. Have a good one.